Warren Buffett once said, successful people say no to almost everything. So I posted that on my socials and I got so many interesting reactions. I didn't attribute it to Warren Buffett. I just posted it just to see what kind of reaction I would get. And I got some reactions that I kind of expected, which were like, what do you mean? That's ridiculous. Because in our society, we have these motivational speakers that say, open yourself to possibilities, say yes to everything. And there's a certain point of view where that may be true up to an extent. But I think what Warren Buffett was trying to say was something like this. So I have a friend. He's a lifelong friend. We're still friends. And when we stay in touch. And but at one point, he was going to leave the country, go on a trip, an extended holiday, about a month, actually. And and at the time, I think he thought I needed a job because I wasn't doing a regular, like, go to a job site, work, then come home kind of job. So I had like kind of a flexible schedule. And he said to me, would you look after my house while I'm gone? You know, just stop over once every couple days, water the plants, just walk around the house, make sure everything is okay. You can even take my car for a spin, if you want. And I said, no. And I don't, it's funny because when people ask you for a favor, or not a favor, he was going to reimburse me. I think he thought I needed money or something. And he was going to compensate me for my time. And that's nice, very considerate. But I said no. And when people ask you these kinds of questions, they really don't expect the answer no, right? So that's something that I've learned too, is when I ask someone a yes or no question, I'm ready for no, right? Well, when I said no, and he didn't ask for an explanation, he said, okay, thanks. And it was via like email, text, whatever. So like I didn't have to explain. And that's another thing. No, N-O period, is a complete sentence, right? I didn't have to explain myself. But I will explain for you, because I think this is an illustrative of the point that Warren Buffett was trying to make. Let's say I said yes. Let's say that when I went over to water the plants, and I'm not a plant person, I did everything perfectly and the plants all survived. But let's say one day I go over there and something's wrong. The water was left on, or there's a leak, or the hot water tank blows up, or somebody broke in, or there's vandalism on the side of the house, or any number of things, or months later, something's missing out of the house. And there's that question, right? Even though we've been lifelong friends, he trusts me, I would trust him. I'd say, if he asked me to ride me, to the hospital, or he asked me to ride him to the hospital and hold his wallet, I would do that. If I asked him to do the same, we would do that. But as far as his house, like, no. Like, what if something is missing or lost later, and somebody, well, wait a minute, remember when Patrick was over there? That kind of thing. Like, no. There's just too many potentially things that go wrong. Another example, I have a friend who gets drunk and texts me at like 3 a.m. And usually in some kind of, I imagine, a maudlin state of remembrance, and thinks about when we used to work together at this bar that we used to work together at a long time ago. And he finds out it's for sale. And he says, you know what? You should buy that bar, and then we can work together. And first of all, I'm like, what makes you think I have enough money to buy a bar? What have I done to lead you to believe that that's the case? And even if I did, what an absolutely terrible investment. Absolutely terrible. I've worked, my experience with restaurants, don't own a restaurant. Like, terrible, terrible idea. No. That's a lot of work in order to try to make that a successful venture. It's all the time. Being a small business owner, you are constantly worrying about stuff. And in a business like that, which up until just recently was like 90% cash, you're always worried, and or you have like consumables, you're always worried about somebody taking something, stealing from your, or inventory control is a big problem. And no, so but he would do this every once in a while. He would just get like, I'd get these texts and be like, we should buy that place. You should buy that place. You should buy that place and hire me to run it. You should do this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So yeah, saying no. I had another example. There was a guy who, his son and he wanted to buy a bar. All right, so I have some bartending experience. That's why they asked me. A bar, and they his son is a lawyer who doesn't even live in the same state. He's retired, and they wanted to buy this place, and they wanted me to run it. And so it'd be a 3-way partnership. And I said no. I didn't even take time to think about it. I just said no after he was done like with his like pitch, his 10-minute pitch. And he said, just like that. And I said, just like that. And he was like, well, can I ask you why? And I said, restaurants are a terrible investment. I said, but what I didn't tell him was, in a 3-way partnership, there's always one partner that's out. So let's see, who would be the partner that would be out if there were a disagreement of any kind? Just even like an amicable disagreement of any kind. Who would be out? I would be the working partner. Those two would be like the idea and money part. Well, I guess the son had the money, and then and maybe he had some money, and then I'm like, it's a father and son against me. No way. So when Warren Buffett's saying like most people, successful people say no a lot or most of the time, that's why. Because a lot of these ideas are bad ideas, right? I mean, you read stories about people who hit the lottery, and then, their nephew or their cousin or their brother has a great idea. Let's go buy a bar, let's do that. Let's open a hot dog stand. Let's it's like, you guys you don't have any experience in this. You don't know what you're doing. You think this is a great idea. Why don't you just go start a fashion magazine or something? Why don't you, I said to my one friend, why don't you train to be an astronaut? At least then you have like a series of goals that you must meet. Like there are criteria, right? And then you'll know like this is not achievable, right? But a business, there's this illusion that it's achievable. All you got to do is work harder and harder and harder. And sometimes it just doesn't work, right? Sometimes it's just a bad idea to begin with. Anyway. All right, so that's all I got. That's my rant because somebody said something on social media, so I had to make this video. Okay, if you have any questions or comments about this rant, go ahead and put them in the comments below. And if you want to see more of this, like the video, tell me, subscribe. And if you don't, stay quiet as a cricket, and then I'll do something else. So, hope you guys have a great day. Take care.